So it's been quite some time since the last Bioshock game. Which reminds me, how long has it been?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Now before we all start crying for feeling old, we just got our first look at Bioshock 4, or at least the next Bioshock game. Even though it does look promising, I wouldn't get your hopes up. So, let's check it out. There's quite a bit of detail showcased within the image, but not too much. As a quick overview, we have a gun, a glowing tower of some sort, and some UI elements related to what I'm assuming is health and abilities. Now, let's dig deeper. When starting on the left side, we see some console coding or development code. Next, we see some abilities that look like to be activated with the shoulder buttons of the controllers. The abilities look to be related to magnetism, time, and electricity. Based on the UI, it looks like an easier way to switch between abilities compared to the original games. It seems like we use each shoulder button to switch to the abilities, then pressing together to use them, which would make sense, but doesn't explain as to why another ability is at the top of the screen. Speaking of which, at the top, we have the player's health bar and a usage bar for our abilities, which is what we had in the original games. On top of that, it seems to be split into 3 sections, which could indicate 2 things. Firstly, this image is from the beginning of the game, and secondly, we could upgrade this bar to include more uses later on. As we move to the center of the image, we have a tower of some sort. There isn't much detail to provide the context of it though, so we don't know what it is or if it's significant. Also, I originally thought that the round-shaped object was part of the tower, but after looking at it closely, it seems to just be part of the background, similar to the moon, a planet, and the sun. There is some small text at the bottom, but I'll talk about that in a second. On the right side of the image, we have a gun, which seems to be labeled as a ricochet shotgun. Now, like I said before, there is some small text at the bottom. When I look at it, it looks like it reads Parkside Demo, which, by the way, is the only thing to prove the legitimacy of the image. When doing research about Parkside Demo, it actually led to this old Reddit post from 2019 about Bioshock 3, or at least the next Bioshock game. In the post, they referred to the game as Parkside Project. Based on the Reddit post, the game was officially named Bioshock 3 and is a sequel to Bioshock 2. Adding to this, the game was supposed to take place in London of 1971, with the world suffering from the downfall of Rapture. Essentially, people are in search of a new utopia since Rapture fell with all of its new genetic discoveries. However, this is different from MP First's take on the game, which is where this image actually comes from. On their website, they state that the game takes place in the 1960s in an Antarctic city called Borealis. Because of the fact that both posts reference Parkside, which is obviously the project's name, my best guess is that the game had changed and restarted development in some way, which kind of makes sense, which I'll explain in a second, considering that in the Reddit post, they stated that the game was slated to release sometime from late 2019 to 2020. On mpfirst.com, the website stated that the image is from an early 2021 demo build. The only thing that throws me off is the idea of the studio restarting development, because if the game was supposed to release in 2020, which meant that the game was nearly finished by the publication of the Reddit post, why would they restart development near the end of the original development schedule? Also, how could they salvage all of that development time if they did restart? My best guess would be that they kept and reused all of what they had developed and simply reshaped it to fit the new narrative of the game. Also, if they did restart, that would also explain the wait time that we've succumbed to. Like I said earlier, the image is from 2021, which makes this image outdated by 3 years, which also means that the game is more than likely looks a lot different now, compared to whatever this leaked image represented. With the possible idea that the game restarted development, it does beg the question, how far are we from the game's announcement and release? Well, based on this image from 2021, and considering that they've worked on the game for quite some time, I'd say that we're not too far away from an announcement, but that is just speculation. By this point, the game could be announced whenever the team decides, whether that be at the Game Awards or next year's Summer Game Fest. But just like GTA 6, we will have to sit and wait in the dark until then. However, we are now at the end of today's video. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like down below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my content, and leave a comment down below of anything you'd like to see me cover. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.